Hello. It's time. It's time for Milo devblog number 10. Welcome back, um, people, person, or no one watching. Uh, this has been a pretty cool week. I'll just jump in. This is the newest development of sort of visualizing the cover art, the tone, the theme of Milo, and I spent quite a bit of time on this, and I'm happy with it. I don't think it's finished though because there's some issues like with the this O looking like a D or an A. So I might be revisiting that a little bit. It's not the end of the world if I don't, or if I can't find something I like better, but yeah, I'll be looking at that, and also the figure in the background. I think needs some love. I'm not exactly sure if I'll use this exact silhouette. Um, but I'm gonna take another look at that. But other than that, I like the color scheme and the palette uh, of this image, and I think it definitely describes the look that I'm going for, and I feel like I'm actually going to be using this image as a sort of a jumping off point in terms of like keeping a really unified design scheme or design, aesthetic or whatever going forward. Um, but yeah, I'm super stoked on that. I added these cool, the Steam, the Epic Games logo. That's really just for to give the image more credibility. But I'm pretty confident this will be on Steam and probably the Epic Games Store too. I mean, I don't see why not. And it's made in Unreal Engine, so seems appropriate. But yeah, let me jump over to Unreal and also show off an exciting development that's definitely very work in progress and that's the first person hands. I've I spent a lot of time juggling the idea of doing my own animations, my own first person animations for this game, and I finally uh, I reached a point where I was like, I don't know what to do because like I don't know a lot about animation, and I've been kind of dancing around the edges of sort of knowing how to integrate my own, simple animations from Maya to Unreal. And if you've never messed around with 3D animation, I mean it's incredibly intimidating because it's not just really complicated. It's also very it's so broad. There's so many different approaches. So I feel really lucky because I opened up a file kind of just by accident. I'm just sort of like looking through my older files, and I found this advanced control rig for the UE4 mannequin, and the control rig itself is great, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to take my animations from Maya and put them on my god damn it, put them on my my skeletal mesh. But I was able to get the workflow and bake the animations to the skeleton and go through all that bullshit, and now I've got a pretty good pipeline going. Uh, and I'm super excited about it because this thing is so cool. I mean, I was literally moving bones around like a big dummy, stuff they were doing in like the 90s. But this rig is super cool, and I've been able to grab a few animations already. But mostly what I've been doing is posing the hand holding the pistol in the first person and adjusting the pistol in first person so it doesn't look completely retarded. So, and I'll give you an example here. You person watching that who's listening intently. So yeah, this is what happens when you make a game that's in first person. It's very it's very finicky. Just a lot of trial and error. Of course, the reason the jump is happening is because it's actually playing a different animation every time I fire. But really, the thing I'm pointing out is the angle at which the gun is pointed, because it's just not intuitive. It sort of betrays your intuition because you're not really adjusting it for you. You're adjusting it for this camera, and I'm actually not sure how to look through this camera apart from actually starting the game. But even if I could, I don't know if it would help that much because there's other stuff at play, like for example this material that scales the mesh base relative to the camera, so that there's no clipping when I reach the wall. Because normally this the mesh that's in the foreground, this pistol would just go like right through the wall. And it's not doing that because I have this really cool shader that tutorial that I found on YouTube. But I think that might have an impact too. To be honest, I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell is going on. But I spend enough time to try to get it to somewhere where I like it. And one of the references I used for this was Counter-Strike. CS:GO, specifically, just kind of the angle. I like the angle. I like a lot of things about Counter-Strike. The gunplay. I like the animations. I mean, I think that Valve's work in terms of all of it is just top notch. I mean, it's hardly even arguable. It's just top shelf work. And I love that game, and I think that there was sort of a divergence that happened in first person shooters, around the time that I kind of stopped playing as much Counter-Strike, because games like Call of Duty came out, and there was like Gears of War, and all of a sudden we saw like sprint. Like the sprint became this absolutely indispensable thing. I mean, you can see it because every first person shooter like wouldn't be caught dead without having a sprint that has the arms running in first person and moving the camera a little bit. And Counter-Strike is like, and from a lot of people's point of view, is just in the Stone Age with their max speed. You're always at max speed when you hold W on the keyboard, and the only difference you can do to your speed is to hold shift and walk. And I think that that's really cool. And I might even write a book about it because I'm talking so much about it. But no, I the reason I brought that up, I think in part, is because I don't really want to have a sprint in this game. I'm not opposed to having things move, being able to move at different speeds based on itemization or whatever. But I think that the sprint mechanic is kind of like the Focus in the like 70s movies, like, or not Focus, like Zoom. Like when everyone found out about the zoom, it was like, oh wow, we can zoom on everything. And I kind of feel like sprinting has become the same thing because I don't need extra shit to do. Because that's really what I feel like it is. Like, I don't need an extra button to be entertained. And I know that sprinting is like a huge part of strategy in a lot of games, and being able to manage your in some cases like stamina and stuff like that, in addition to fighting and whatnot, it's a major part. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that I've been irritated for years because usually they put the sprint key on your shift, and that's my pinky, and sometimes my pinky hurts. So you know, tired of this crap. So yeah, that's a long, pointless rant that has uh, nothing to do with anything. Uh, where was I? Bu-bu-bu. So the first-person animations are a major project. They are, and it's very satisfying to me that I have reached a point where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that there's hope that I'll be able to create something in the first person that's decent, even with my limited experience. And I could I could have done more animations on the first person instead of just sort of having an animation which is like a posed hand. But the thing is I'm kind of going to have to base all of the animations on the sort of idle starting point, and I'm just not totally satisfied with the way the hand is oriented right now. Nor am I totally satisfied with the topology and the base mesh. But that could change. I mean, you also notice got some zombies in the house. They're still not very bright, and they are definitely behind in terms of their look, and their bringing them up to speed with the rest of the game. They need some serious love and a total cosmetic rework, animation, uh, hitbox adjustments, physics, ragdoll physics, dropping items, speed variance, spawn, destructible barriers. There's a lot of stuff ahead, and these past few weeks have been a much needed look at the more cosmetic aspects of the game. Animations, of course, the environments. The environments have been a huge project of mine because the game the game originally was much more low poly. And I'm gonna bring up the video from the very first dev blog that I did. I think I'm gonna bring it up on YouTube because this will kind of make. Let's see, manage videos. I know these are unlisted. These old ones. Yes, here we go. Grab that one, and then I'll grab. Whoops. I'll grab that one too. Yeah. So this is the first. This is the first week of development, and the first idea that I had. What the game wasn't even called. Well, I guess it was called Milo, but the project file is called Gunship because I thought I was going to do a flying game or something like that. And this is the first, I was looking at zombie pathing tutorials, and I was just kind of familiarizing myself still with Unreal Engine. I still am. I mean, it's insanely, robust. But anyway, the reason I brought this up is because I sort of started to realize how much work was cut out for me Um, I mean, the Dunning-Kruger effect is a very powerful phenomenon, and it's really good that it exists, because if I had known the journey of making a game at the beginning, then I might be intimidated and might not do it. So there was like a bit of delusion in the beginning where it's like, yay, I'm making a game, and I didn't fool myself into thinking that it was gonna be easy or that it was gonna like be the next, Minecraft or something like that. But I did have a pretty naive sense of like, well, I'm just gonna make it happen. Um, but luckily, I feel like it's starting to pay off, because what I have now is a much more fully fleshed out. Or, I'm sorry, not fully fleshed out, but a much more clear vision of a game. That plays. That has a cycle of gameplay. And you know what? I'll show this other one too, briefly, because this I believe was the second week of development, and still I'm in this very low poly, very very low poly mindset of thinking that this is kind of the lane I would be in. Man, there's some cool stuff in here. Some of the stuff I got rid of, like some of the spell effects and stuff like that. I forgot about the duck man. I might have to find a place for him. I think he'll probably be one of the mascots in Trang, in the Trang Pizzeria. I don't even know. What the hell is this? Can't load a stupid YouTube video. Oh, and this whole like spawn situation caused me it was like a week-long headache of something returning null PTR, as I like to call it, because I'm such a programming noob. But yeah, these guys were, the fact that they were spawned into the level and I had some line of code in C++ and it was returning, I don't know, the player controller or something is null, and it just instantly, bricked or crashed the game. But it's good times. It's fun to like move stuff around, put stuff in the level really quick, and just sort of concept. I learned a lot about lighting early on, in terms of just like kind of how how complicated it is and how many things there are to consider. So that was week 2, and to be honest, week 2 and week 3 pretty much look the same. And I feel like these past 2 weeks have been a real huge advancement in the area of the way the game looks. And once I bring other things up to speed with the environment, it's going to start to feel even better. And I think, one thing that I should probably point out too is that the environment is, I didn't spend a lot of time after sort of really getting a solid workflow and getting a few nice textures that I was happy with. I didn't spend a lot of time uh, doing more of them, just because like I in my mind it's like, okay, I know how to do this. I've got it sort of locked down into a method, and that's when my brain just goes like, okay, let's do the next thing, because um, there's so much to be done. I can't be really tinkering too much on things like that. There's sort of some exceptions, I guess. I maybe the poster or the cover art is one. I have spent a lot of time on this, and there was a lot of a lot of tinkering and concern for the visual aspect of it, of course. But I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, because if this is the first thing that people see when they hear about Milo, or mild, as some people will read, or Mila, if this is the first thing that people see, then it better be goddamn good, or at least visually compelling, or ignite someone's curiosity. I think that one thing that I'd like to sort of bridge a gap with is sort of there's sort of this zombie gameplay loop, which is uh, always subject to change. Everything's subject to change, but that's the direction I'm going. Wave-based enemy spawning, that sort of gameplay loop. I would like to be able to have a nod to that in this art. And that could be like a cutout, like silhouette, and the letters of zombies, or arms flailing, or there's really just infinite ways that I could do that. But I definitely don't have any interest in having a really heavy-handed, obvious branding where it's like, okay, this, like, to the consumer who might purchase the game, like, I this may sound totally counterintuitive and self-destructive, but I actually don't want people to see this and just think I know what this is, because I want the game to be more of an experience. And I won't go into that, because there's a lot of stuff to unpack, and in that, I think I'll be better off just showing you when it's time in the game. Because even though the game is going to be very, uh, I hope, easy to pick up but difficult to master, I think um, that's something I really care about. But oh god, I lost my train of thought. Um, yeah, I want people to be able to pick up the game pretty easily, but I don't want it to just read, from the poster, like, it's another co-op zombie game. Come on down. Because I want it to be something a little bit more than that. And I also want people who buy the game. I want them to have a relationship to the game that's personal. That's unique to their experience. And you might ask, like, well, how would you even do something like that? How could you decide on something like that? How could you plan for that? And I think that, I mean, in some ways you can't, but one of the ways one of the things that I like as someone who, like, consumes media and art, I really like subtlety. I really like restraint. I like it when people have the opportunity to do certain things, and then they limit their they limit it. It's kind of like you see it a lot in writing, like really good dialogue for movies and television, like uh, or maybe I don't have a good example on that, but good actors, when they really want to invoke a feeling of sadness, and in the audience, they'll actually hold back their tears. There's sort of like something that's more powerful about wanting to cry and stopping yourself in a performance than just like bawling, and just kind of losing control. So I think, like, less is more. It really always is. And subtlety, even though it's easy to ignore, it's very loud to people who are sensitive to the material, and that's my audience. So TLDR, I basically want to create a dog whistle to other hipsters like me who like kind of strange experiences with games. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff to consider as always. Boop boop boop. I can't wait to get some new animations on these zombies too, especially the death animation, which is so boring. And just for the sake of it, I'm gonna start the game in three. What is it? Alt P. And a few more instances just to see what's going on with multiplayer. Whoop. So yeah, something is going to have to be done with the player models. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go with this, with, you know, whether there's going to be customizable characters, whether there's going to be customizable outfits, whether outfits are going to be on a single mesh or on or, you know, attached to the skeleton. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to approach this. That I think I will cross that bridge when I come to it, when I have a better grasp on the first person animations. I also, something that I've been thinking about a lot is different guns, and the fact that I obviously don't have a lot of guns in the game. I did have a weapon switching scheme that was, you know, it was replicated and everything, but much like the sprint, or similar to the sprint, I don't want to have a bunch of guns. This is like, there's a part of me that like really wants to ruin the fun and in people's lives. I actually just want people to have a pistol, and I think it's for a few reasons. One reason is like I want to relive a part of my life when I played games and you started with the pistol, like in GoldenEye, and it was just like the coolest thing because you had to conserve your ammo, you had to be really stealthy, or you know, you could run and gun too, but you had to have a really good accuracy, and there was something super special and, you know, covert about using a pistol. And I know the expectation is, you know, especially for games like this with zombies, is, you know, like, when are we gonna get the Gatling gun? Like, you know, oh cool, I got the shotgun. What's the next step? An M16. Okay, then the Gatling gun. Whoa, where's the rocket launcher? And then you get the rocket launcher, and then it's like, oh, where's the laser gun that shoots lasers out of your eyeballs? And then you get that one, and then it's like, yeah, I mean, we kind of we know that what that's like, you know. Uh, but I would like to opt for more of like a Binding of Isaac and uh, like a Risk of Rain 2 type of system where maybe everyone gets a pistol, but maybe the ammo could change. Maybe the rate of fire, maybe the size of the clip, maybe there could be even attachments. Um, and this idea was not just born out of like my uh, you know, my disdain for just really cliched things in games. A lot of it is just like I'm lazy because I don't wanna do another gun. I don't want to do another set of first person animations for every gun. And one of the cool parts about making a game is like that laziness actually is a massive vehicle. The limitations that I have is a major vehicle for coming up with new ideas, because I probably wouldn't have arrived at it if I had, you know, tons of money and perhaps other people working on the game. Uh, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and see if I can make it fun. There is one other thing that has of course been on my mind since the beginning, which is remote mines or sticky mines. I Another uh, part of me really wants to relive that part of GoldenEye again, especially multiplayer when you just throw mines all over the walls and whatnot. Um, I mean, it was such a blast, and I think there might be a opportunity to have more of a tower defense type of mechanic in this, as opposed to Nazi zombies and the other, Black Ops 2 zombies. So I would indeed like to explore that as well. But I guess with that said, I pretty much shot my bolt about my mild. But this is happening. It's starting to feel more real. It's starting to feel um, more real, and I still have yet to really lock down the what exactly is happening in this universe. But I'm okay with that. I'm in no rush to have answers, because really, at the end of the day, the game's about the fun. It's about the player having fun. It's not about me showing off my art, or showing off anything, or trying to heavy-handedly do anything with the audience or the people experiencing the game. At the end of the day, it's really about, is this going to be fun for someone to sit down and play? And having that be a motivation, it can be difficult sometimes, because you have to kill your babies, so to speak. There's some things that I spent a lot of time on that I just totally scrap, because it's just not going to be fun. So that's my guiding light. That's my mantra. To find the fun, and all of the uh, layers of just madness that comes from my own mind that I'm putting into the game, like the cream machine, and this concept of Milo, and the concept that this takes place in a dream, and all these other sort of things that are floating around. They're really uh, they are becoming something as I go through development. And I don't want to just force it into a box, or create some bullshit narrative that's just gonna get people to be like, oh cool, it's another, like, we're surviving in the zombie apocalypse. It's like, I don't really, I mean, I love games like that, but it's there's a lot of just people. I don't want to badmouth the genre, because I love games like that. Those are what I grew up with. But I think you probably understand what my point, um, or not. But who cares? You're not even real anyway. So yeah, Milo. It used to be Project Milo. Now it's Milo. It's like Snoop Dogg and Snoop Lion or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be super super cool. And this week, uh, I guess I'll obligatory tell you what I'm gonna do this week, and then totally ignore it. But I'll probably stay in this lane of doing animations for a minute. See what I can do. Maybe get some surface scattering. Some real skin. Maybe a little bit of a skin effect on the fingers. Uh, just find little ways to kind of give even though it's still in a retro aesthetic. Like, there's little things I could do with this technology to give it a little bit more credibility, a little bit more oomph. So I'm gonna be, of course, looking for those things all the time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have a great week and drink lots of water. I love you. Um, Congratulations, happy birthday, and Merry Christmas. And I'll see you. I'll see you soon. Toodaloo. Love you. Bye.